Hey everyone. I might be turning into an old man, but I think it's scary to see how most of the biggest people on the internet are mainly well known for being degenerates. Like, of course, there are people who are talked about, that are respected and make good content, but when it comes to those that are talked about the most, it's hard to think about the last time it was about a person that did something good. Like 9 times out of 10, you will always see or hear about someone doing something cringy or awful on something like stream fails. I mean, naturally, people like watching it because there's some slight entertainment value at its core, but the fact that you see it everywhere makes you feel like it's only going to get worse. But it's not to mention that there are kids that watch this and see it as a dream, and will say with a deadpan face that they want to be just like them. But at the same time, the idea of kids looking up to the people in this video is particularly funny.
In 2024, influencers are the ones building our culture and leading the next generation. They are reshaping not only the landscape of entertainment, but also the psychological and social fabric of their audiences. But what happens when these influencers become more and more desperate for views, more and more desensitized and craving more dopamine? And what are the results when people try to be those they watch every day? Well, it leads to what you'll see in this video.
Who was the guy? I forgot about him. The actual speed clone.
Starting with Adam22.
It was
now, for those who don't
slow,
know,
yeah.
Adam22 made a name for himself as a podcast host and internet personality.
Is his name actually Adam Grand Mason? That's badass. That's only a name destined for a cook.
For his interviews with up-and-coming hip-hop artists and figures from the urban culture scene. Having one of the biggest podcasts in the niche, going viral on all of social media.
As much as I make fun of him, I do love his set. It does look good. Too bad it was stained by that walking goblin that is Adam.
Sexual relationship with a girl when she was just 16, and he was in his 20s at the time. The thread also suggested that he might have sexually assaulted her. Now, of course, this was controversial and couldn't really be proven, but later on he would actually openly acknowledge the relationship in a blog post, and also shared explicit images of Desiree, the young female he supposedly abused. However, Adam completely denied the accusations of sexual misconduct, but for years this sordid story disappeared from the public spotlight. However, in March of this year, while filming a podcast episode, the predator catching platform official Perv Busters confronted Adam regarding his allegations.
I'll be a hypocrite if I don't address the
She's
situation
Jewish.
that happened with you.
There is no situation.
I don't even know this guy.
The one where you was messing with the 16-year-old girl?
Never happened. What do you think happened?
And so Adam would
I
respond.
love how the spirit of Chris Hansen lives on for different people. Like every time, I mean, he's not dead now, but every time he's like reincarnated, and now I'm guessing he's a podcast host.
But it would only get worse from there. You see, as things started stagnating, his life started to get more boring. After the honeymoon period of his marriage, Adam22 wanted to change things. He wanted to make more money, more influence.
I wish he said his life started getting boring. The only joy he could find left in life was to watch someone else rail his wife from behind.
Fame. And why not spice up his relationship at the same time? So how would he go about doing this? Well, by seeing his partner getting frisky with other people for money.
called it
Now,
all.
most men are very uncomfortable with the thought.
I called that joke from a mile away. Hell yeah.
22 isn't most men. He will do anything for views. He will do anything for money. You see, Adam22 is also an adult star, with his other adult podcast show being widely regarded in the adult content world. And in these podcasts, he would often end up having threesomes with the girl he'd be podcasting, along with his wife. But this would begin to change as soon as he married Lena the Plug. And in June of 2023, Lena the Plug announced her first ever video with another man, aptly named Jason Love. Previously, Lena had solely collaborated on videos with other females than Adam himself. But in this case, Adam22 would hype up the video between Lena and another man. They were building up the suspense on Twitter, and their OnlyFans subscriptions went through the roof. The marketing was genius, but also completely debauched and morally bankrupt.
Yeah, that's interesting. I always saw their relationship being as like actually, backed up by emotions and love. But now that he mentioned that they met up like at some porn podcast, I could see him having like no feelings for her. I mean, I even brought it up in one of my last videos about him where he feels nothing for her, and all he sees her as like a good avenue for money. We can make up this image of him being like, yeah, she's getting cucked by other people. It does make it somewhat less embarrassing if he doesn't love her. Because at that point, he really is just watching another person that you don't really love get banged. So it's kind of just like a second form of porn because you don't really care about the other person. But that still doesn't take away from the whole image and the character he's building on.
Ever interested in doing your first ever double penetration scene that me and Lena, I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but I feel like,
Yo, dude.
would he be a suitable candidate? Would you,
Andrew Tate,
can I tap him in?
I don't know.
There's absolutely 0% chance of that happening. And it's not because Elena is particularly unattractive, it's because she's married to Adam, and I have no interest in degenerate, pointless sex, and I have no interest in making a spectacle of myself, or even just involving myself in anything which I deem to be overall haram and pointless.
Especially considering that Lena and Adam have a child. And soon after all the hype, after all the build-up, and Adam marketing this as much as possible.
Now that kind of is an anchor for them to not do the stuff they do.
A video of
now.
his wife getting penetrated by another man, and in the process losing all of his dignity and self-respect. Because soon after the video went viral, Adam22 encountered a whole host of online criticism as individuals began labeling him as a cuckold for permitting his wife to engage in a sexual encounter with another man. Adam even
You can tell he just typed on the search bar on Twitter, cuck, and just showed up everything.
stating that allowing Lena to partake in the scene was a beneficial career move for her, but a death sentence for his. Even though the couple would make millions from this, was it really worth sacrificing their
No
entire
way.
family? The backlash on Twitter against this continued to gain traction in early July, and that's when Adam began addressing it through his tweets, defending both his and his wife's decision. In one of his tweets, he expresses his indifference towards being called a cuck, stating that he found the video to be utterly arousing. In another tweet, however, his true feelings became more apparent, with the 40-year-old content creator acknowledging that he felt a slight sense of jealousy initially regarding their decision. And since then, the No Jumper host has shown no self-respect, embracing the backlash and dismissing any criticisms that have come his way.
Yo, Adam, you let yo.
Isn't it crazy that you guessed it on here? Like before I had even really hinted at
Yo,
it.
you really
You
did
guessed
that?
it.
You watched it?
I didn't watch it. I'll
It's not that hard to guess when you just say one look at
It's
him.
like was in another room listening to her moan and groan and shit.
No, she was at a hotel being filmed by a professional. And
I like how he acts no, she was at a hotel that I paid for. That'd be weird, wouldn't it?
totally honest.
Right. So when you say there was an underlying value, what is the underlying value of your wife getting railed by a big black guy?
Probably just money primarily. But then also
Instead of being honest and admitting that the idea of his wife sleeping with another man was a terrible idea, even if it made him loads of money and fame, Adam instead doubled down on it, appearing on
I love the
podcasts
persona he has of like some
insisting that it was an
teenager in high school that acts like he's so smart, like for money. Why is what you do
I
it?
have is like, why?
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 Yeah.
I guess like number one on the list would probably just be like money.
Rather absurdly, but not really surprisingly, Adam and Lena would then double down on this, releasing their own show titled For the Love of Lena, which sees 10 men compete for the chance to partake in a threesome with the duo. And although the show was free to watch, the
It's not really a threesome. It's not really a threesome if it's not included.
making them even more money by whoring out his wife. But what Adam and Lena fail to realize is that all the views and money in the world cannot buy you dignity, and they can definitely not buy you respect. Now his entire family has been ruined, his credibility destroyed, but at least he's gained millions and millions of dollars. This is the sort of
And that baby's gonna have a huge inheritance from that
Most
money,
don't have
from that
opportunities
cook money.
to raise teenagers. This is where our society is headed, where individuals desperate for money and validation will go to the bottom of the barrel to outshock each other, completely whoring out their bodies and family just for more attention. But of course, Adam22 isn't the only talentless and tasteless influencer ruining our culture today. There's also Neon, real name Rangesh Mutama, an American.
That's his name. He's the one guy I'm interested to see because I feel like I might know most of the people on this list, but he's the one person I've seen over and over. But I've never seen a clip of him like speak or one of his streams where he does something bad. Of course, I know people don't like him for good reasons, but I want to know like what has made him this monument on the internet of just being like a degenerate streamer.
Who first gained recognition as a prominent NBA 2K content creator. But in recent times, however, he was inspired by the culture of streamers like Aiden Ross. And this is when Neon's content became scandalous and considerably more clickbaity. In short, he has morphed into a full-blown liar who even faked his own death on a YouTube video.
Someone else, okay? I don't want to make y'all stop losing my content. And lastly, bro, I'm gonna be recording a few videos with other YouTubers so you guys can still see me for a little bit until like you know, if this surgery doesn't go well, because if this surgery does not go well, I'll bleed out to death. And if that happens, you know,
Hell yeah, man.
that's what's gonna happen.
Burn the boat.
And is almost universally hated by everyone online for his stupidity. Nevertheless, after faking his death, the 19-year-old continued on as if nothing had ever happened. In May of this year, Neon then appeared on a live stream with Aiden Ross and Sneeko, and what initially began as an open discussion with morbidly obese
There she
Alicia
is.
Lopez, a blogger turned TikTok
There's that
personality, quickly turned into a vicious attack.
I genuinely hope someone comes to your house and you in the fucking head, you fucking hip fat bitch.
No.
They finished. I'm gonna fuck this bitch. How the fuck you wake up like that? How do you yourself? Please tell me.
Bro,
Please fucking tell me. How do you
Fuck
not want
no.
to just you're fat, obese, you're fucking somebody's the fucking you bitch.
No.
Somebody's the fucking
Yeah.
you fucking
I don't care, man. She ate. Look, she doesn't give a reaction.
Safe to say that Neon probably crossed a line here. The explicit tirade got so intense that even Sneeko, a content creator who often lacks a filter, decided to actually leave in the middle of the discussion. Now, of course, this was done for attention and clicks. The more you insult someone and the more controversial you can be, the more people respond, the more reactions you get, and the more polarizing you are. And when you're polarizing, you always gain more fans and more notoriety. During this period, Neon would insult everyone, even Adam22. No matter what, he would take down anyone. And whilst it might have been entertaining, it was just also bottom of the barrel entertainment. What's the point in this stuff?
It does feel like that. Like, even if I was a kid, I could tell, like, just faking it. I mean, I guess you could call that talent, where just out of nowhere you get this, like, really angry, but there's a very small limit where you can just tell it's fake, and there's nothing worse than seeing someone just fake a reaction, because it just feels like not funny and just enforced, as if like you're tied around a chair and you have to watch it. It's painful.
This is the stuff iPad kids are growing up with, but as he continued to grow in popularity, Neon would eventually receive some karma. In a video that caused quite a stir, Neon could be seen trembling in fear as alleged thief stole his phone and shoes. However, almost everyone was skeptical if this was even authentic. At first people thought this was karma, but then it just seemed completely fake, another lie for clicks, deceiving his fanbase once again. But it did go viral, helping Neon even further catapult his fame. Neon would even call himself a bitch, and in a somber tone, he seemed to lament, wanting Andrew Tate to be his new daddy.
I'm not gonna lie, bro, I just wanna say this, Andrew Tate, if you're watching this video, bro, I really appreciate you, bro. I really, really do. You are a fucking great human being, bro. You're an amazing human, because I'm gonna be honest, I don't think anyone else is doing that. After someone literally sat there on the internet for 10 to 15 minutes and tried shitting on you, you come back and you want to help me. And I'm gonna be honest, I need help. I do.
But of course, this was just to go viral. None of this was authentic, real, but it was entertaining for most. But more and more, Neon would just hang out with these hoes in LA and Miami, getting
Whoa, dude, come on. They have feelings. They have talent.
To influencer parties. Eventually, this sort of degenerate behavior got him criticized by Andrew Tate.
But Neon, or whatever his name is, he's a clown.
No, that's George.
I don't want to insult him too much, but they're just children being stupid.
Why? Well, for using OnlyFans models in their video. Tate, a man who once ran a seedy webcam business himself that exploited lonely men for cash, accused Neon of lacking any creativity and of seeking cheap clicks by associating himself with questionable models.
That's very one common trait throughout his entire generation. Just hypocrisy of someone being like, man, you're only popular because you do this or blank whatever, and then you're like, you do the exact same thing. Why are you different and like better enough to criticize someone else?
Accusing him of degrading himself. And to be fair, it's completely true. And then more recently, just before the latest UFC event, UFC 296, Neon told his fans that he would confront Donald Trump at the event. However, after UFC officials were informed about his intentions, they denied the streamer any entry to the event.
When you start saying stupid shit like that, yeah, you're probably going to get busted up and thrown out of here, you know, making threats and talking dumb shit.
One doesn't really need to be a genius to think that Neon will continue.
Dan does look like the kind of guy who would yell at Neon in the face.
Why is this stuff popular in the first place? Do you really have to be at the bottom of the barrel? Do you have to go so low to get views? And is this who's going to be raising Generation Alpha? And as the worst, most stupid behavior gets rewarded with more and more money and attention, this stuff's only going to continue more and more. There's going to be an infinite amount of Neons, and to accompany them, their OnlyFans girlfriends. But speaking of spreading manure with one's mouth, it's time we discuss Ruby Rose, a controversial influencer with more than 5 million Instagram followers.
I might know her. I mean, it's not surprising because every time there's something big on like entertaining for people, the biggest fraction of the fan base will always be kids, because they will always just eat whatever they see on the screen. They don't care about quality or dignity. They will just watch because they have the lowest bar of entry for like dopamine to make them happy and keep on watching. So I feel people are kind of like overestimating how bad this year or decade is, when by the time there is like a next big person that everyone just hates, it will only seem like the worst because like they seem a new light compared to when they've already wasted so much energy hating on the last person that to them they seem like just kind of like plain. Like it's not that surprising, but this new person, oh, they're really the last nail in the coffin.
Many things, few of them any good. Ostensibly, she's a singer and songwriter. In reality, however, she's just an OnlyFans model. And after all, genuinely talented singers and songwriters sing and write songs that didn't really expose themselves in OnlyFans unless they were a stripper to begin with. Although Rose appears to have quite a following, it's important to remember that appearances can be incredibly deceptive. But in late 2023, she would become famous.
I just want to say it was heartbreaking seeing that guy turning out that it was just a fake story. For me, that really broke the reality that it can be as entertaining as you deceive it as.
Across the internet, as the OnlyFans star revealed a string of messages from a supposedly desperate fan of hers. Everyone everywhere, Penguin Zero, all of Twitter, Reddit, every corner of the internet was speaking about it. This man, a top spender on OnlyFans, expressed...
I like how sure like a thread of people on Reddit getting angry at him when they're probably just like on the same level of being degenerate as him. If he was doing like the stuff they made it seem as.
Emphasizing the significant amount of money he had invested in their relationship. He always wondered why Rose didn't love him as much as he loved her. You're absolutely perfect. There was no one else like you in the world, the man wrote. You could be my queen and I would be your king. I would give you anything you desire. We could even have an unconventional relationship where you have the freedom to do as you please, as long as I know that you come back to me at the end of the day. I promise to treat you better than anyone else, Ruby. I love you with all my heart, he wrote. Obviously smitten, he continued, I have never felt this way with anyone before. I want to marry you, start a family with you, and be exclusively yours. I would give up everything and sacrifice anything just for you. I am willing to do anything for you to love me, and I will give you everything I have for the chance that you will never leave me. I want you to be with me forever. In my eyes, I had never seen or known anything that I am so certain will be perfect, which almost sounded too good to be true. So infatuated with Rose, the guy known as Brandon even got a tattoo of her face on his leg. Soon after, however, the truth emerged, and it wasn't really pretty. Not for Rose anyway. This was just one giant advert, as Rose's alleged #1 subscriber came forward to address the $60,000 controversy surrounding the rapper, asserting that it was all a ploy to promote her account. What a shock. And it was genius, because everyone on the internet was talking about it. In an interview with the aforementioned Cuck of the Year, Adam22, the man who was portrayed as an excessively obsessed fan spilled the beans, insisting that he never actually purchased any of Ruby's content on OnlyFans.
Yeah. If there's one person that should be up on the podium judging another man for being a degenerate, it should be Adam22. To be fair, that is quite like a good marketing stunt, because there's nothing people hate more than when you try to like mask an ad as something else that's like authentic, because you can just tell it's fake. But this one actually felt like an insane fan. I think most of it goes because of like the amount of messages they sent back and forth, not back and forth, it's just from him. So I'm guessing he spent hours just writing them over and over to make it like the whole entire DM just longer, make it more realistic.
It was actually belonged to someone else entirely, not him, probably the marketing team. He also claimed that Ruby's team had contacted him and paid him to stage the hoax.
I didn't purchase none of her OnlyFans content.
So who is he if he's not a fan?
Right? Okay.
What is he?
Paid for it. I didn't know exactly what it was for, and I met up with her. I take this picture. Next day, I'm like the fucking OnlyFans top spender. And they kind of let me know that I was gonna be like this, like one of her like subscribers, I guess, on OnlyFans or something like that, right? I was like, okay, that sounds cool. You know, I didn't know it was gonna blow up to this big, huge story. At the same time, I'm like getting all this like hate and shit.
And although he did agree to have Rose's name tattooed on the back of his leg, which is really creepy, he was paid approximately $15,000 to $20,000 to ink his body. A move he—
Oh my god, I would get my entire body tattooed for some random woman on OnlyFans for that money.
Manipulate Twitter's algorithm, and thus the entirety of YouTube, to promote OnlyFans garbage. This is the ultimate advertisement. It's all fake. Anytime you see a controversy surrounding some OnlyFans star, always look behind the motive. Degenerates like Ruby Rose will continue to plague the internet and our culture and society.
I don't like her nose, her hook nose.
But no one is more degenerate and sneaky than the Paul brothers. Now today we see them in the WWE and the boxing ring. Both of them seem to be doing remarkable.
To be fair, they were even worse back in the day. But they're doing like quite decent, you know, in the present.
Hugely from YouTube. But on closer inspection, these people have gotten away with—
apart from the scams, yeah, I just realized.
Following and money, you can do pretty much anything you want, with both men having been accused of a whole array of scandals. But one of the worst they've ever done is their crypto-related scams and stealing money from their fans. There's a reason why the search for Paul Brothers scam brings up so many videos on TikTok. It's because the brothers have used this platform and other popular social media platforms to sell thousands of fans around the world very expensive lies. And of the two, however, Logan is by far the biggest sinner. He's not only thrown his friends and colleagues under the bus.
What did he get a world record for? I want to look that up. The largest pinata. Fair enough, it's kind of easy. I mean, they didn't build it. I feel like the team of people breaking their back to make it as like big as possible and falling off the edge and dying, breaking their backs, maybe should have gotten the the award.
And gained a reputation as being as fake as you can be. He's also been involved in one of the worst crypto scams on YouTube. 2 years ago, Logan Paul unveiled CryptoZoo, an animated NFT venture heavily influenced by Pokemon.
We have a massive team behind it and are probably out of pocket like $1 million just because we believe it's going to work.
on development.
Yeah.
For a little over $1,100, individuals would have the chance to hatch and raise animal hybrids on the blockchain. The first 10,000 NFTs sold out. Everybody bought into this. This was during the crypto market boom. However, the game never materialized. Even now, as you watch this video, no game actually exists to this day. Investors were sold a well thought out lie. So what happened here? Well, in January of this year, Logan Paul, worth somewhere in the region of $245 million, unveiled a $1.5 million compensation plan for disgruntled investors who didn't get the game that they were promised, saying he wanted to offer a rewards program for players who are disappointed in the status of the game. A solemn-looking Paul also promised to finish the game. That promise was never fulfilled. But soon after Paul's pledge, a number of investors filed a class action lawsuit against both CryptoZoo and Paul, alleging that the influencer and members of his team stole millions of dollars from them via a fraudulent venture. Now, the people in the lawsuit declined to speak, citing fear of retaliation from the Paul brothers. But then it got even worse, as in September of this year, Paul claimed he never made a single token, never sold any tokens, and never profited from the project. He also insisted that justice will ultimately prevail and that he is working tirelessly to rectify the situation.
I never made any money, never sold any tokens, and I only had the best intentions going in.
But if you find yourself rolling your eyes in disbelief, you're not alone. As in July, Paul proposed to his fiancée, Nina Aggar, which is a whole other controversy with the whole body count issue between her and Dylan Dennis. But when Paul proposed to her, he would gift her a ring worth almost $2 million. You see, instead of using some of this money to compensate his victims, he instead chose to spend it on a ridiculously expensive ring, rather than paying back the
Why be $2 million? I've seen rings like that for like way less, like a fraction of the price.
Paul will continue to profit as a fully fledged WWE star in the hellhole that is Saudi Arabia, making millions if not billions with his new Prime energy drink, an overpriced, disgusting caffeine-laden monstrosity banned from schools in Australia. Like Prime, a drink that leaves a bad taste in your mouth, Logan Paul is one of those influencers that's rotting your brain. Now, discussed individually, it might seem like these influencers have very little in common, but they have. You see, they are in many ways a direct representation of everything wrong with today's sopilistic, self-obsessed society, where people aren't rewarded for being respectable and decent, but for being dishonorable and indecent. Influencer culture, driven by the likes of Paul and Adam22, is fueled by and incentivizes self-absorption, shallowness, conceit, and more often than not, deceit. It glorifies materialism, predatory behavior and ignorance, vanity and arrogance, all of which are detrimental to the development of a healthy, cohesive society. Before the dawn of social media, people like Adam22 or Logan Paul would have been laughed at, being called a narcissist, even a fraud, in possession of a bottomless insatiable ego. However, in this age of social media, this is the people raising our current culture. When their behavior isn't punished, it's reinforced. These guys getting paid untold millions of dollars. And that's why today we're seeing more and more aspiring influencers attempting to imitate this behavior. And if we are what we eat, we've got to ask ourselves, what is mass consumption of influencer-driven material doing to our minds and souls? Well, studies clearly show that influencers are degenerating teen behavior. These are the leaders of our new generation, and what does that say about where we're headed? In many ways, these modern day influencers are the antithesis of what the great philosopher Peter Berger meant by the sacred canopy, the idea that all healthy societies build a figurative shield that protects them from the difficulties of life. This canopy offers a sort of shelter for members of broader society. It acts as a glue that holds people together. Sacred in this context doesn't necessarily mean religious, it simply means something we as a broader collective consider truly important, dare I say vital. It puts the we above me, and influencer culture does the very opposite of this. It places the influencer at the top of the pyramid, and their behavior, attitude, and culture trickles down into everyone who views it. And sadly, as recent surveys show, when children are asked what they want to be when they grow up, more and more people are saying social media influencer, and probably OnlyFans star in the years to come. Just imagine millions of children growing up on iPads, being raised by Adam22, Neon, Ruby Rose, or Logan Paul. This is the world that awaits us, but maybe it's already here. But who will pull the strings tomorrow? Welcome to the world of AI influencers. And if you think things are bad now, 2024 could be a completely different picture. You see, not only will we deal with a huge
hard turn, gone from real fiscal meaty people to this AI.
Instagram recently unveiled dozens of new AI influencers. And if there's one word that describes Meta's creation, it's just truly creepy. One of the influencers is called Billy, an AI-generated creation that bears a striking resemblance to model and socialite Kendall Jenner. Like Billy, all Meta's AI influencers possess distinct personalities and resemble.
Is that the AI version of Jimmy? He looks Disgusting.
Figures. The AI influencers even share posts, allowing users to engage in direct conversations with chatbots or explore their feeds for AI-generated content. And not surprisingly, many of these AI models are designed to titillate and excite specifically.
I said AI because it still looks like an actual photo of the real person.
Hyperpixelated female figures, many of whom seem like the ideal woman. But these computer-generated monstrosities don't just surpass conventional beauty standards, they obliterate them. We're genuinely approaching a time when men will actually give up pursuing real women as men become more and more sexless and instead settle for artificially generated alternatives. And
Okay, I just want to say now, he's making it seem like the odds of every single man jacking off to a robot is very high. But I think if there's any like demographic of people who's gonna jack off to this like stiff image, then it's gonna be like 1% or even less than of like the male populations.
2024 may be the year that we cross the Rubicon, but these AI generated models are nothing more than sedatives, designed to keep you situated in virtual worlds, addicted to the pixels, consuming more and giving away all of your privacy. And now even OnlyFans has a huge surge of AI models. And now there's even FanView, a subscription platform specializing in adult content featuring nothing but AI.
Why would you pay for like an AI person OnlyFans? Can't you use the same engine or like source to make your own porn?
$20,000 per month for her flesh and blood creator. If all of this isn't creepy enough, FanView is also developing a message generator and audio tool that can mimic the AI models in real time, providing a more immersive experience for subscribers. And the proliferation of these plastic, hollow, empty AI influencers is such a hideous path that we're going towards, and it honestly makes you wonder who's paying for this stuff. I mean, the impact of influencers is already troublesome, but in 2024, their impact driven by the rapid rise of AI technology could prove to be absolutely devastating to our culture and society. But only time will tell if these AI influencers can actually replace real human influencers.
No, I don't think. I feel like people can always tell who's gonna be the real person. They're always gonna prefer that over just some like AI moving their face like with the worst voice possible. I feel like no matter how good it gets, I don't think they can ever like replicate the voice, which is the biggest factor to making someone feel like uncanny. Because if their voice seems somewhat off, it already makes you feel like what the f going on. Plus, even if it does get to like near perfection, that's gonna be like in 40 years. If in 40 years I'm jacking off to like some AI person, then the world is just messed up. But I feel like I have enough time to rectify to make sure I don't become to that miserable old man in a wheelchair. As negative as he sounded, making the impact of like these people massive, I feel like there's a age where most kids that grow up and watching like these people or get inspired by them, there's gonna be one point in their life where they realize like I can't become this kind of person, and even if I do, it's gonna be so unbearable because of the cringe and the embarrassment that I'll just quit and try to pursue another career that I actually want and respect. Plus, the odds of becoming that kind of person is so low. It's not gonna be like a huge wave of like people becoming like social media influencers. Like out of like 100,000 kids, it's gonna be one that becomes like on par with like a neon or sneaker or whatever. And even then, within a year or 2 years, they're gonna blow over because people can't spend all their energy hating one person forever. Like at some point, they will just get like just mundane with nothing else they do like will surprise them, so they'll just be like washed up. Like I'm trying to think of one person that has sustained enough hate to be popular, and maybe Logan and Jake Paul, but even then they've evolved that sounds kind of gay, but they've evolved from being like really hateable to doing other stuff that makes it more shady. Like the most attention they've gotten apart from like the crypto scams, but maybe from Prime, and even then that's less of them like doing a stunt like back when they went to Japan and that did the whole fiasco. That's more of them like intentionally making a product to create some marketing behind it. So I really doubt someone can be popular for long purely from hate, and if there's any person that people will watch for a long time, it will be someone they actually enjoy or laugh at or have respect for, So those kind of people actually make an impact on people even after they stop doing videos because they actually enjoyed it, as opposed to like going back and watching like kind of stream fails of people being cringy and just awkward because you can't really watch that for purely entertainment. But I guess the only way to prove that is just like wait for this generation to grow up and see if they do follow through like with the childhood career, which that'll be interesting. I can't wait to see that.